I know we're all fighting sequel fatigue, and yes, this is a year full of that. My list is no exception, as 7 of the 17 films I've seen this year are either a sequel, prequel, or a remake. Despite this all, I would go on the record to say this was a very solid year in horror, and also I would be remiss if I didn't say R.I.P. David Lynch. Starting with number 17, we have Abigail. And the best thing this film has going for it is intrigue. You want to find out what's up with this little girl in a non-creepy way. Outside of this film, that's not something I would recommend. But you also get some good comedy, which leaves altogether a movie that certainly you can miss, but is worth watching if you're looking for a solid new horror flick. At 16, we got In a Violent Nature, and the title can foreshadow if you're going to like this, as the most memorable scene is very violent. This isn't a crazy, gory scene, but it's, I guess the movie as a whole is a fireside backstory with violence, and that's really the top two selling points of the movie. Also, it's a movie that feels incredibly inspired by Jason Voorhees, so if you have a hankering for a new Friday the 13th film and don't feel like waiting any longer, your prayers have been answered. At 15, we have Trap, and I know you're all groaning, saying, how could you put this piece of crap this high? Or, if you're an M. Night stan, you're probably groveling at how low it is placed. As with most M. Night pieces, this movie is a mixed bag, and personally, the good outweighed the bad for me. The second half of the movie is very hit and miss, but the first half, up until we get backstage with Lady Raven, M. Night's daughter, it is good and worth checking out the film for. It's definitely one you can skip, but if the mystery hooks you, I would say check it out. At 14, we have a slightly disappointing entry in Beetlejuice. Having Michael Keaton back in the saddle again is for sure worth the price of admission, but his screen time and impact make it feel a little bit lackluster. And I get they were trying to emulate the feel of the original by not oversaturating the movie with Michael Keaton, but damn it, he had more impact in that first movie than this one. It still has that macabre style that is killer from the first and an interesting story, but being honest, this by no means lives up to the original. At 13, we have Immaculate, and this is a pretty solid film. Sydney Sweeney does well in a serious role, and the plot is interesting. I will say, in my opinion, this film tries to do what our number 7 entry does, but just slightly worse. So perhaps you wait until that is unveiled and watch it instead. At 12, we have A Quiet Place, Day 1, and if you like the first two, you'll likely be on board with this. We know the stakes and what they're up against, but the film relies on you growing attached to our new main characters, which I think it does well. Up next, we have number 11, I Saw the TV Glow, and this is a slow burn. If I told you the first 90% was super entertaining, I'd be lying. But it's setting the table for what's to come. The ending or last 10% is what makes the first majority worthwhile and all makes sense. It's full of symbolism and is allegoric and honestly well crafted. Certainly one to check out if you have the patience for it. Breaking into the top 10, we have Terrifier 3. And if you know my channel, you know I'm obsessed with Art the Clown and probably think I'm overrating this film, but I'd argue against that. This is the best film of the trilogy and most proficient display of filmmaking from Damien Leone. The gore is there, sure. The familial drama is better than ever, and the lore is still being established. Now we have number 9, Odity, which is a film that is growing a cult fan base, and it's obvious as to why. There is a mystery at hand, a spooky doll, and solid scares. The less you know, the better going in, and I really think it will deliver on the scaring if you miss that feeling from childhood. At number 8, we have Smile 2. First and foremost, just getting ahead of it, I know that I've likely upset you Odity superfans with its low placement, and I get it. But as for Smile 2, it worked for me, big diggity dogs. The beginning is super good. Lucas Gage is the minute-for-minute MVP, and the ending is tremendous. It's a psychological horror that will twist you up like a pretzel, and I enjoy that. We're now at the aforementioned number 7, and that, of course, is the first Omen. I did not expect an Omen prequel to be so damn good, but here we are. The film has a good mystery and some diabolical imagery that left a lasting impact. At 6, we have Heretic, and by golly, Hugh Grant is gaining fans in his older age. I never knew this dude could act this well. I just knew he was in rom-coms and kind of left my opinion at that before really giving him a chance. He kills it in this film, and this is great for the film. The original story is full of impactful twists and turns, and it's definitely one to check out. Next, we have Alien Romulus at number 5, and some are going to think that's poor placement. Listen, if you like Alien, this is a film that pays great homage and comes close to achieving the same greatness of the original. I know it's hypocritical to complain about sequels up top and then promote this in the top 5, but I am a hypocrite. Number 4 is Mads, a French film that really blew me away. The cinematography is off the chains and looks like it's all done in one shot. This style allows the film to keep this amazing pace and kinetic energy throughout. The film will have you questioning what the hell is going on in the best way possible, and is just executed so well. For the top 3, we have some heavy hitters, but please don't forget to subscribe, hit that bell icon, and check out my horror playlist on the channel for more sick horror videos. Number 3 is The Substance, which is a great film that makes cutting commentary on our insecurities on looks and also how substances can be used to avoid our problems. As a creature feature body horror, this has some really spot-on analogies for how people cope with their problems and make you think about its messages long after the movie finishes. This film has earned its praise, and I highly recommend it. Number 2 is Longlegs, which feels like it has been a bit polarizing towards the audience members who have watched it. A lot of people are either going to absolutely adore this, and some people are really going to pan it. But quite frankly, I had to think on this film for a day or two before fully appreciating it, but I really do love it now. There's so much to read into between the lines after the film is finished that I can't help but adore the film. If you've watched it and don't feel the same, check out my videos on my channel, which may make you look at the film differently. Last but not least, we have Nosferatu by the great Robert Eggers. This film treats Nosferatu with the prestige and weight a character as famous as Nosferatu deserves. Skarsgård completely nails his performance, as does Lily Rose Depp. The story is well known with slight nuances from the original, and it's Nosferatu and Dracula, that story. If you're familiar with it, you're familiar with this, but this has slight changes, and the execution is really, really great. Robert Eggers is one of the rising stars in Hollywood and will gain the recognition he deserves following this little ditty. Thank you all for joining me. I'm going to be making a 2014 to 2024 Redux, so check out that original video and just know that the Redux is going to have even more 2024 films as I'm going to be watching in preparation for that video. Thanks again for subscribing, liking the video, and comment your thoughts down below. And I'll catch you on the flippity floop. Bye, y'all.